Welcome to AI Chain Reaction, the podcast where we unpack the incredible world of artificial intelligence and automation. Each week, we're diving deep into the tech that's reshaping our lives, our businesses, and our future. From groundbreaking innovations and the latest industry news to practical strategies on how you can leverage AI automation for growth. We're covering it all. We'll be joined by leading experts, innovators, and thought leaders who are at the forefront of this digital revolution. Are you ready to explore how one small change can set off a massive chain reaction of progress? Then you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome back to AI Chain Reaction, the show where we unpack how AI and automation are transforming the way we work, move, and deliver value. I'm Nick Winters, joined by my co-host Devon. Today we're talking about freight, trust, and technology, and we're joined today by Andrew Frank, president of UROK Logistics, a veteran-owned logistics brokerage delivering that value to the logistics industry. Andrew, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
I appreciate that, Nick, and thank you for inviting me.
Yes, of course, definitely. Well, before we get into the tech side, let's start with your journey. You're leading a fast-growing veteran-owned logistics firm in a competitive space. What drew you into logistics and eventually led you to found and lead UROK?
Wow. So, our startup story is a little bit unique. So we've actually all met in a video game chat room about a decade ago. And,
Nice.
basically over the years, we got to know one another. And I've been a salesman for my entire life, pretty much every job I've done. And, I kind of got the reputation of, being a salesman. And the gentleman who I played video games with, they were in the logistics space working as employees for various freight brokerages. And we kind of found about 3 years ago, we found ourselves in a unique position where we had additional time. And we decided to kind of take that joke or, something that we used to laugh about. How cool would it be to have our own freight brokerage? And actually decided to see how difficult it would be to make that a reality. So I remember I was in my garage. We opened up Chat GBT. This was the earliest days of ChatGPT. We just asked it how to build a freight brokerage. And it gave us a list of instructions. And essentially, I got on the phone and I started making phone calls, said, hey, I'm looking to establish X. And they said, well, do you have Y and Z? And I said, well, how do I get Y and Z? They said, you got to call the other guys. So I'd call the other guys. I'd get X and Y. I'd call them back and get Z, and I did that a number of times. And before I knew it, we had a fully functioning, operational, and licensed freight brokerage. And my co-founder was someone who I got to know over a decade. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. So if we made it through, 10 years of that, we were pretty sure we could go into business together, and it's been growing ever since.
That's amazing. Yeah.
No,
Great
that's
story.
amazing.
Great background. And that's the first time I've heard of a business startup based off of the gaming community. So really cool.
Yeah. Parents are probably going to hate me for that one, but
No. Yeah. It's an example, right? Right there. So love it.
yep.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, tell us about the name UROK. I have to ask, where did it come from and what does it represent for your culture and mission?
So UROK was actually our clan name in the video game.
Wow.
We could only have a maximum of 4 characters.
Mm-hmm.
So UROK, UROK. So then when we started the business, the name was obvious. We're UROK.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Do you recall what video game you guys were playing?
Yeah, it was not a super popular game, but the game is called Smite 1. So they just put out a second one, but
Yeah.
don't play it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Nick, are you familiar with it? He's
I
done
actually,
some-
I don't know that one. I'll have
Yeah.
to look into that one.
Yeah.
I'm also a gamer as well, but I haven't heard of that one. I have to look into it.
Basically, it's like a battleground of, mythological gods. You play as Zeus, you play as Thor, you play as Hercules, you play as Poseidon, Hades. And it's like
Okay.
like a 5-on-5, I have to get to your base before you get to mine.
Cool.
Okay. Oh, I see now. Yeah. Actually, I have seen this. Oh, that's awesome. Well, let's get into the big picture. The logistics world is changing fast. New technologies, new expectations, new disruptions.
Mhm.
From your vantage point, what are the biggest shifts happening right now in freight, brokerage, and transportation?
Wow, the biggest shifts right now. So I'm sure you've seen, but they are cracking down on drivers and making sure that these drivers speak, read, and write English.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's been a number of incidents. The biggest one being when that 18 wheeler made the U turn on the interstate, and a family of five, unfortunately, hit the truck head on. And it was later found out that that guy couldn't even, he didn't speak English. He wasn't reading street signs.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
this kind of, there's been incidents in the past, but this was a big eye opener.
Mhm.
So now ICE agents are riding around with 18 wheelers and they're bringing them to these rest stops, right? They're
Wow.
saying, hey, this is where these guys hang out, and the arrests are in the hundreds. And, California has just been fined $40 million for not following proper CDL procedures. They're threatening to fine them another 160 million, and even go as far as prevent California from being able to issue CDLs altogether. So,
Oh, man.
Wow.
we're seeing ICE agents now go to rest stops. We're seeing the president and his administration, taking this very seriously and cracking down. So there's a lot of disruption there.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And, whether it's positive or negative, there's going to be people who are excited about, a lot of the cheap freight being taken off the road. And I say cheap freight, meaning, these guys are willing to work for less than, let's say a union driver would,
Mhm.
right? So a lot of these guys are now being taken off the roads. We're seeing where historically a lane is just point A to point B, a pickup and a drop. We're seeing a lane that would typically be $1,000 now is booking for 1,200 or 1,250. So we're seeing price increases,
Hmm.
as they're becoming more and more aggressive with being extremely picky with who's allowed to actually operate one of these 18 wheelers or commercial vehicles.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, big
Yeah.
impact on the market. Yeah, it seems like a huge compliance issue. I mean, if they're not right with it, so, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. So we hear a lot about visibility and transparency, shippers wanting real-time updates, predictive delivery windows, and exception alerts. How do you approach that across your carrier network today?
Well, what's pretty neat is that if a carrier were to request, or let's say a shipper were to request a carrier have, real updates and live tracking, the tools and software that we use and that a large percentage of the trucking and brokerage industry uses as well, are actively making improvements. One of the big ones is RMIS now has the opportunity to ask a carrier to connect their electronic logging device, or ELD, which will basically, give us the ability to see where they are much more easily than having to reach out to their dispatch and asking them, hey, can you tell us where your driver is? What are the ETAs? Things of that nature. But, because UROK really only works with A and B rated carriers with a long history of doing the right thing, we hardly run into any, situations where we can't clearly communicate with our drivers and, they're not sticking to their ETAs. So, our pickup times and drop off times and transit times are all pretty solid. And our shippers appreciate that. And that's why they continue to call UROK Logistics.
Oh, that's
Definitely.
awesome.
Yeah.
Is it like a transponder that follows them, or is it a real-time communication channel?
So they have a device in their vehicle that basically keeps track of everything that the truck does. So,
Wow.
that's why we don't necessarily have to worry about hiring a bad carrier because they're under a microscope.
Mhm.
If a carrier has a fatality, we know about it. If the carrier got pulled over because he was drunk, we know about it. If a carrier went over their hours of service, we know about it. So if there's a double brokering report, we know about it. So everything that they do, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is reported. And then we can go review those reports and make an educated decision on whether or not we should bring them on and allow them to work with our shippers' freight.
Mm, that's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's incredible. So your website mentions disruptive technology. What kind of innovation do you think truly matters in this industry, like AI automation? even just better communication.
It's funny that a lot of these technological advancements that we're making, it's like people think, "Oh, okay, we got to get the new thing, we have to, get ahead of the curve." And sometimes they're right, but really what we found has been the most, let's say, disruptive or gives us an edge is our ability to just create a relationship with the shipper, to
Absolutely.
have real life day to day conversations and to be there when they need them. If they send us an email, we respond right away. My shippers know they can call me anytime. So it's almost like we've been seeing that the tried and true values of good communication is really what makes the difference. A lot of people, they have these AI tools that are automating and sending emails, and we do a little bit of that and are looking to implement that, sure. But there's nothing like personalization. And some would argue, as you get, let's say I had 10,000 customers, it's kind of a little more difficult to personalize, right? Where then we would need to utilize some, like automatic AI emailing, or they even have AI callers now that are becoming hyper realistic. I've been fooled numerous times.
Hmm.
So, there's a lot of new things that are coming out that are interesting and worth trying, but there's nothing like building that personal connection, delivering quality.
It's really same story on business, same things, and just delivering that great service, that great value that you guys have, and AI hopefully can use it in a way that it supports that and not get in the way of that. Really, to just make things smoother or easier for you to, so you can
Right.
spend more time with the customer.
Yeah.
It's a really good tool for larger customers. Like we have one customer, they have over 1,000 locations, right? So we have a huge email list, an email for every store. So,
Mm.
once a week we may have an AI tool that says, "Hey, we're here if you need us, or if anything pops up, give us a ring," stuff like that. But the AI callers, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, where it can be,
Hmm.
I don't know. What do you guys think about
Yeah.
like if an AI robot calls you, even if it's hyper realistic, it can make sense of the questions you're asking. It's like, how do you feel about talking to the AI or the robot?
Yeah, same thing. I think if it's done appropriately, right? And I can kind of pick up on it now and tell, and they've got guardrails on it, and it's really helpful. I mean, I think in some senses it's good, right? Because it's a clear communication. It can be quick. It can maybe it knows a little bit more about me, that it can figure out faster than a human can figure out. So from that side, it's good. Now, if it's just routing around endlessly, right, that's a nightmare. So yeah, it's really got to be done the right way.
Right.
So I mean,
And it's getting really good.
it's
It's getting
getting good,
really
isn't
good.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
it's scary sometimes how good it is. So yeah.
definitely.
And the other AI tool that we utilize constantly is Grok. We got the
Mm,
the Super Grok.
Okay.
And between that and ChatGPT, I mean, we use that to help us find potential shippers. I mean, we use that to review contracts. We use that to even help us build contracts, to look for, it's amazing how you can just input a large document and say, hey, scan for, what could be dangerous, scan for what is in our favor, scan how, for possible issues, whatever you want to ask it. And it boom comes up. So that has been an unbelievable use of AI so far, just to help us move through big documents very quickly.
yeah, and that's awesome. You're the first one to mention Super Grok, so I'm excited to hear that, especially in this industry. I don't know if there's any kind of tie there with Tesla and Elon and getting that data, but up until now, this is the first time on that. So that's really cool.
And the one thing I will say is that with contracts and AI, you have to be extremely careful of using or entering sensitive or private information. So we always make sure that none of that is included in the AI prompts.
Hmm.
But yeah, as far as Super Grok, so, we have another customer who on any given day could have 30, 40, 50 loads that pop up. So we need to post those very quickly. So Super Grok kind of allowed us to copy and paste that entire document in there. And then we can basically tell Grok, hey, we want you to categorize it and organize it like X, Y, and Z. and remember. So then basically you can save that prompt, and then every time that list shows up, we can post 50 loads like that,
Nice.
where other brokerages or other or us even historically had to manually type in every one of those loads. So you can imagine how much time that takes. And this is sometimes a game of minutes. So, let's say another 5 or 6 brokers could be on this list. Let's say someone started on the other end of the list or even the middle, or was just cherry picking, and a carrier, boom, could call them, take it. By the time I finally get to type it, load's already gone. So now it allows us to be first almost, or to guarantee, like, as soon as that list goes live, we can have every single load posted. And unless other brokers are doing that, they'll never be able to compete with us
That's awesome. Yeah.
in
Yeah,
terms of
definitely.
being first, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think it matters, right? Like you said, you may have minutes, so it's really good.
And yeah, well, so that's a neat trick. It's a little bit sauce.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
super good. So
no,
yeah, it's
definitely.
fast. You're saving time spent by employees doing this manually. So yeah, it really seems like really good ROI on this one.
Yeah, no, definitely.
For
And
sure.
yeah, that's a perfect transition because UROK looks to be building both trusted human relationships and smart systems to back them up. So, where do you see the biggest opportunities for innovation and impact right now within your industry?
The biggest innovation and impact, basically just old fashioned phone calls, just getting on the phone and making calls. It's not so much innovation or really trying to recreate the wheel, but just taking a proven model that's worked and basically looking to scale from there. And the more phone calls that are made, the more businesses that are set up with, and the more times we continue to do a great job, they go out and tell their friends, and the snowball kind of starts to roll itself. So word of mouth is also, it's not so much innovation, but
Hmm.
wildly effective. And in terms of using the newer tools, the automated emails, we do implement that, and we'll look to continue to implement smart AI tools to try to make us faster, more efficient, and things of that nature.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
smart way to look at it. So as you automate more and there's more AI doing that, then you maybe bring up customer outreach, and schedule stuff to just to, like you said, have that phone time and one-on-one with the customers. Do you have a CRM or any way that you guys are tracking that?
We do. We do use a CRM,
Yeah,
and we do have a variety of other tools that we use that really will help us keep track of those customer relations.
nice, nice.
Awesome. So, you're also a service disabled veteran owned business. Congrats on that certification. How does that shape your culture or the way you approach partnerships?
Yeah, absolutely. So, really, the biggest advantage we've seen come from that is with the system award management.
Hmm.
So, that's sam.gov. And there are government agencies, municipal agencies, and state agencies that have set aside opportunities for service disabled veteran owned business enterprises, as well as they do for women owned businesses and opportunity zones. And there's a whole variety of them. So that's kind of a category that we can fit in and look to have a leg up on actually completing that job versus the free market, which is a majority of the opportunities on sam.gov. And so then I would say also the other advantage of being a veteran owned business is that we work with other veteran owned businesses. And oftentimes that is a really good way to open up the door and say hello and give us an opportunity to quote some shipments and hopefully do a great job.
Definitely.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Well, going off of our previous conversation, on your site, you emphasize a strict vetting system for carriers. But what does that process look like, and how much of that is an automated process versus a manual, human intensive effort?
Yes. So for vetting the carriers, as I was saying earlier, and everything these trucks do is reported. So they can get away with very, very little. And when we vet these carriers, we use a variety of software. RMIS, which is They have to enter in all the pertinent information, and there's a number of firewalls that they have to get through. And then we also utilize Carrier 411, which will show us, if there's been any double brokering reports, any, in transit agreements, any fraudulent activity. It will show us the number of inspections. It will show us the trucks that are reported, and also gives us the company information, email addresses, phone numbers, things of that nature. And then we also use a third tool called Khaki, which will often tell us the rating of a carrier. We utilize, to the best of our ability, A and B rated carriers.
Awesome.
And that's really how we vet our trucks. And as long as they have a long, clean track record, we have no problem working with them.
Definitely. Yeah. No, definitely. So could you share a quick example of a recent success story, maybe a time when your team solved a tricky logistics problem or helped a client recover from a potential disruption, or any other success story?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. So this was actually a pretty cool scenario. It was a phone call I made, and the customer basically told me that he wasn't interested. He didn't need any support from a third party, and that he wasn't looking. But during the call, he mentioned that he was looking for a particular stone. So I
Mhm.
said to him, I know you don't need any additional support right now, but if I could find this stone, would you let me ship it to you? Like, would you buy it and let my trucks be the ones to bring you the stone? And he said, you know what? If you can find me that stone, we'll work together. And actually used AI, and I had AI scrub the internet, super grok, find me this particular stone. And sure enough, I was able to locate it not too far away. The place I picked up from already knew who I was from previous shipments, and our drivers were able to get set up, and we've been shipping together ever since.
Nice. Oh man, that's
Yeah.
incredible. So integrating all this data across TMS, CRM, and accounting platforms can be challenging. How does UROK handle data integration and reporting today? And what is the next manual reporting or data entry task that you would love to automate?
Ooh, if I could automate one task, the one that would be the most time consuming, um, probably QuickBooks.
Books.
QuickBooks is rough. Yeah, it,
Yeah.
it, it it requires a lot of man hours, a lot of
Mhm.
categorizing, a lot of figuring out, a lot of diving into the bank and diving into all these systems that you just mentioned and matching and organizing and sorting. QuickBooks is a rough one. I actually used another AI tool to write a song about how much I didn't like QuickBooks. So
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That might go
That's
top
good.
40,
Yeah.
I'll send it to you guys after. You'll
Yes.
get a kick out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll definitely have to hear that. That's good. So, is there a role for AI maybe in predictive pricing, lane optimization, driver performance, or something else entirely?
Absolutely. AI could be used for any number of those things. And one of the tools that we work with, Truck Stop, they're starting to and trying to add more of these tools, which would be included in our paid subscription to also help brokers, make better analysis of what the lane and cost will look like, so we can give our shippers the most accurate information. And those AI tools that look at predictive measures and fuel costs, and maybe highways that are closed, so now they have to go a different route, tolls, all of these things. Absolutely, would be AI would has a place in there, and it's actively being implemented.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
So, what's next? How do you see URock evolving over the next few years? And as you scale, where do you see the biggest opportunities?
Wow. So, we found a lot of our success really in partials.
Mm.
So, oftentimes customers who want to move one, two, three pallets, four pallets, they go to these websites like UShip or, FedEx Freight, or they use, Old Dominion, or these LTL giants, let's call them. And they miss out on the opportunity to work with or they just may not know about utilizing a freight brokerage like UROK Logistics, to where we have connections with independent owner operators, box trucks, sprinter vans that would be happy to pick up 1 or 2 pallets and deliver it for, a fraction of the cost. We have one example where we saved the business that was using an LTL carrier. In 2024, it was just over $100,000 for the year freight costs. So they would tell us, hey, this is our best LTL quote. Can you beat it? More often than not, we would come in with, an owner operator, and we would beat it. And then they would just keep track of those savings, and they let us know at the end of each year what our number is.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
man, that's
awesome.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're happy with that relationship as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Well, in terms of marketing and sales, are there any bottlenecks you're experiencing around pipeline outreach or lead conversion?
So right now, I would say the biggest struggle for me in terms of working that pipeline and taking advantage of opportunities, because there is no shortage of opportunity in this game. There isn't. And using the certifications that we were awarded, the various veteran certifications, it gives us access to all of these portals that have opportunities. So really more smart people to sit down, get in front of it, and realize what the opportunity is. So, in terms of scaling and growth, it's really just going to come down to expanding the team and getting people to realize the opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Let's see. So, Andrew, this has been fascinating. You've had an incredible journey so far. Hypothetically, if you had a magic wand to fix one thing in the business right now, be it a manual operation process or a sales lead generation challenge that is slowing down your path to your next growth stage, what would that one thing be?
I would wave a wand over the United States that would tell me every shipper who would be interested in working with UROK.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then I would only call them. And all of these other calls, I would totally skip. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, we'd be, a $1 billion company overnight, right? But,
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
but I think a big reason why UROK is where it is today, and while, we will continue to grow, is that you have to like the process. I mean, you have to, if you want to get to the top of the mountain, you better love walking.
Definitely.
I don't mind putting one foot in front of the other and doing the hard work and finding those diamonds in the rough. And honestly, that's what wakes me up in the morning. That's what makes the job rewarding, knowing that, it's like fishing. I didn't quite understood why people liked fishing until I got into cold calling. And as soon as you catch that fish, you don't care that you threw the line in 45 other times and missed. You got a fish,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm. That's exciting. Yeah.
So that's kind of the appeal. Maybe cold calling is a little less relaxing because
Yeah.
you get people that tell you to piss off instead of a nice sunset.
Right. Never know what you're gonna get. Just gotta laugh, go with it, right? So yeah.
You got to like the journey.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Uh, well, as a company innovating fast, what are your top priorities this quarter?
Top priorities are just for this quarter. It's quarter 4. Just finish
Yeah,
strong.
exactly.
Um, Wrap up the year. It was our best year ever, which
Awesome.
doesn't
Congratulations.
doesn't mean a whole lot because we're still a young company.
Hmm. Yeah,
So it's every year's been bigger than the next. So
Oh, very
really,
cool.
priorities are just pedal to the metal, foot on the gas, and keep everything moving, and see what next year looks like. It's
Hmm.
going to be super exciting.
of course.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you see AI changing the way UROK collaborates with its customers and other partners?
Well, the big changes could be, I suppose, those automated email reminders, things like that. But other than that, we plan to really keep a personalized relationship with our shippers, and just ask them how their day was, and what are you up to this weekend, and how's Johnny from school, or did Billy do good in the soccer game?
Yeah,
Whatever, these are really the pro tips, I guess.
Hmm.
oh yeah.
Or what we found worked for us.
For founders or product leaders listening and learning how to build AI into their business process, what advice would you give them?
For founders looking to utilize AI, I would say pay the $40 a month, get yourself Super Grok, and take several hours and just dive into it. Utilize the free ones, ChatGPT, Gemini, and, let it help you build and save time for all of the things that would take a long time. Like if you have to build a safety document or, if you have to build a contract, you can use it to quickly give you a good base, and then you go in there and make the necessary corrections and changes and get a lot of your time back to not so much work in the business but work on the business, right? A lot of these business owners get stuck, having to turn the wheel and not looking at what's down the road.
Definitely.
Yeah, good
So
point.
AI can kind of free up some of your time to get back to what matters, and that's building the business. And, one of my favorite quotes, I think it was like, what does it mean to have a business? And somebody said, make money. I was like, yeah, that's a really good answer, but it's to create and keep a customer,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's business.
yeah,
And, that's a lot of these entrepreneurs and a lot of these people who get in the business, and it's, a one-man show or a two-man show in the beginning. That's what they're good at, right?
hmm
The business wouldn't have grown if they weren't good at it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
yeah, hundred
Couldn't agree
percent.
more with
Yeah,
that.
customer retention.
Exactly.
Use
Well,
AI to not get yourself stuck in the business and free up as much time as possible.
Yeah,
yeah.
very good point.
Yeah, definitely. And for business leaders or shippers listening who want to improve reliability and visibility in their freight operations, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
Yeah, so to improve visibility in their freight operations is really just having strong communication and making sure that the trucks or drivers that you hire communicate with you as well, because you need to know what's happening so you can clearly communicate to the shipper. And that's what creates the transparency. Just be open, honest, and communicate. Don't assume that, oh, it'll just work out, or, oh, if I don't say anything, it'll blow over. That is the worst, and we can't stand when our trucks do it, and shippers can't stand when brokers do it. If you have $100,000 shipment that's going from one state to another or even states away, you want to know where it's at and what the ETAs are, and you want to be able to count on that. So you have to have reliable communicators, all the way from the driver to the broker, and you have to be able to let the shipper know what's happening, and they have to be able to count on that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
So, where can people learn more about UROK Logistics or get in touch with you and your team?
Absolutely. So to get in touch with UROK Logistics or myself, you can reach me at 860-329-57. Call me anytime with any freight related matters. I would love to help. Or shoot me an email, andrew@uroklogistics.com. UROK is Uniform Romeo Oscar Kite Logistics.com. You can email me there, call, or text, and I will be available to help out. And check out our website, www.uroklogistics.com.
Awesome. Well, fantastic, Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us and for the work you're doing to bring transparency, trust, and technology together in logistics. And for everyone listening, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to go follow Andrew and UROK Logistics and follow AI Chain Reaction for more conversations at the intersection of AI, logistics, and business innovation.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of AI Chain Reaction. Thank you so much for tuning in and exploring the incredible world of AI and automation with us. We hope today's discussion sparked some new ideas and gave you valuable insights into how these technologies are shaping our future. Don't let the conversation stop here. What was your biggest takeaway from this episode? Let us know in the comments below. We love hearing from you. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. For more resources and to learn how AI automation can transform your business, visit us at wintersaisolutions.com. Thanks again for being part of our community. Until next time, keep innovating and stay curious.